Hello and welcome to, well, this isn't Vlogmas. I did Vlogmas last year and had a blast doing it, but realistically, looking at my workload between now and Christmas, filming 24 videos probably wasn't going to happen, so I have an alternative. Welcome to the 12 days of semester. So I owe my little sister a big thanks here. She suggested doing something around the 12 days of Christmas, and so I'm going to go with the 12 days of university semester, or the 12 days of semester for short. And basically I'm going to share 12 days between now and Christmas, just so you get a bit of a flavour about what it's like to be a lecturer at a UK university. So if we've not met, my name is Caroline. I am a physics lecturer here in the UK. These are all going to be very typical videos, I guess, of what it's like being a lecturer right now in the UK. Here we go then, 12 days of semester. On the first day of semester, my uni gave to me one research grant to write. I've still got potentially one deadline for a research grant that I want to try to hit. As a lecturer, part of my job is to win money, and that pays for my research work in part, and it pays for the work of my students. And in order to win money, I need to put in research grants. So over the summer, I put in for a research grant. It was to fund a PhD student, partnered with industry, and so I should hear back shortly whether I've got that one or not. But if we're being honest, more often than not, you don't get the research grants that you apply for. So you always want to be applying for a few more. So there's another one coming up in a couple of weeks' time, the deadline, and I would like to put in an application for that. But it gets a little bit more complicated. So the way research grants work is sometimes that provider will pay for all of the PhD fees and bench fees and the stipend for the PhD student to live on, and sometimes they're going to pay a contribution. The research grant that I need to apply for is one that's going to apply a contribution. Basically, there is a research council, so the STFC, the Science Technologies Facilities Council, and they, along with some industry partners, have put money into a collective consortium, a collective group. And then within that group, alongside there being industry partner members and some research council funding, there's also universities that go and attend meetings. And as one of the universities, I can now apply to try to get a share in the money to fund a future PhD student, which sounds great, and it is good. But this particular pot of money that I can apply to will only fund half of my PhD students' time. So they'll pay essentially for the first about 2 years, but then either the university or another industry partner needs to pay for the student for the remaining 15 to 20 months worth of work. So I just emailed various members of the funding committees at the university today, chasing up to see whether we're going to be able to put forward an application or not. Now, in previous years, I have written the application ahead of knowing whether my industry partner or my academic colleague would be able to supply the appropriate amount of funding when I put that application in. And sometimes that's been fine. I've been able to apply. And some years, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to apply because the money wasn't in place, or there was a requirement at the university that I wasn't going to fulfil. So I've changed how I do research grant writing now, and I'm not actually going to write this research grant unless I know that I'm able to apply with the backing of the university for financial funding going forwards. Which means that potentially I'm going to have to write the research grant very, very quickly. And it's okay, because the research grant I'm writing about an idea that I have that would form essentially a PhD project for a student. So I will no doubt talk about PhD students more across these 12 days of semester. But at the moment I have 3 PhD students. Each student works on their own distinctive research idea, but in order to form a group identity, our research ideas complementary to each other. So what one student is working on will be particularly for their project, but it might have interests and overlaps with what another one of my students happens to be working on. So basically I am now waiting to find out if I need to write this application or not. It's a fairly quick process. When I get the green light to go ahead and write it, I have to involve other members of the university faculty. So there is a funding and finance team, and they'll come on board and they will deliver a costing plan for me, and they'll cost up my time, the time for the PhD student. I will give them consumable costs, how much kit we're going to need for the project, and they'll factor all into the costings. Then they'll give me the official university costings for me to put in when I apply for the project. Whilst they're doing that, I'll be writing up the technical scope of work. So I'll be writing up why the project's important, how it aligns to the research call, what the student will be doing, what the novelty of their work will be, how we'll be sharing the information with the public. And then usually I get a colleague to give it a read through, because it's always good to have somebody kind of not invested in the project as much as you are to give you an objective opinion on how your research grant reads. And then those two things come together, so my finance document from the university alongside my proposed research idea and plan, and then those two documents will get sent off and I'll apply for the research grant. And then it's just a waiting game. So as I said, I'm currently waiting to hear back from a research grant application that I put in over the summer. I'll put this one in hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, and then I'll have to wait another 4 to 6 weeks to find out if I've been successful with that one. And it's just a constant treadmill of writing research grant applications, submitting them. If you win them, it's brilliant because then you can do that piece of work. And if you don't win them, you read the feedback, you see what the ideas and suggestions were from the panel that reviewed your kind of grant proposal, and you go forwards. So that is the first day of university semester. Now, I promise these aren't going to turn into me just moaning about my workload between now and Christmas. But if you want to find out what the second day of university semester is, do like, do subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because I am going to keep posting on a Monday and a Thursday. But because I need to get these days in before Christmas, I'm also going to post a video on Saturday. And then in the final week as we run up to Christmas, there'll be a video on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd and 24th. And that way I get my 12 days of university semester in before Christmas Day itself. So please do join me for the second day of university semester. I hope to see you on Saturday. Have a good few days. Take care of yourself. If you're writing a research grant application right now, all the best. Good luck with it. And I hope to see you on Saturday. Bye.